Also had a brief affair with Davy. What was it I did? What got here? Me, who am I? It was incredible. I loved every single minute, but she made us laugh. She moved us to tears. Furthermore, for half a century, Sally Field devoted her whole, the heart of Hollywood. From Gidget to Norma, she set Ray and Forrest Gump on fire, integrity and elegance in every role. But now, a quiet discussion is taking place behind the scenes. There are rumors that Sally in something significant. Her health has gotten worse to a growing concern, and supporters who have cherished for years she'd been deeply worried. Consequently, what is happening, really? Is Sally Field saying goodbye to the spotlight? From her terrible history to her latest unfortunate update, kindly join us as we'll learn the truth about Sally's most difficult chapter to date. A distressed, the early years of stardom. Sally Field, he was born on November 6, 1946, in Pasadena, California. Her mother among them was the actress Margaret Field. The father, Richard Field, was a chemist, and also took part in World War II, split up in 1950. Sally was just a child. In 1952, her mother married Jock Mahoney in Tijuana, Mexico. He was an actor and stuntman. Sally had one. His brother, Richard Dryden Field Jr., who go on to become a physicist. On her, she comes from a father's side of the family, to Sicily. Additionally, she spoke English fluently and Irish ancestry. Sally went over to Portola, after middle school, Birmingham Venice High School. She was a cheerleader during her school years. Some of her classmates went on to become famous people, like Michael Milan and Michael Oites. Actress Cindy Williams was 1 year behind her. But Sally seemed to, initially, a normal schoolgirl. Everything was completely different at home. In her 2018 memoir, Pieces, she disclosed horrible details about her childhood. She said that her stepfather, Jock Mahoney, mistreated her when she was a little child. He would ask her to come to his flat and ask about to walk on his back. Then he would turn when she came over to touch her. Him, she wrote, a step ahead of the other direction, up his chest. I moved cautiously. In his nightgown, his hands were unrestrained, slid across my legs and proceeded up, tried to stay away from him. But he would. Lower. Lower. She muttered, oblivious. What to make of it? It would have been. What if he had made me red and held me? I did, but he didn't. Was that love? Was since he had feelings for me? Writing? I wrote, she said. The abuse stopped when she was 14 years old, however. The memory stayed with her forever. That pain followed her into adulthood, while she was gaining international attention, get notoriety. Sally Field initiated her career on television. Her first noteworthy job starred in the comedy sitcom Gidget, which aired from 1965 to 1966. She went on to star in The Flying Nun from 1967 to 1970, and The Girl with Something Extra from 1973 until the present 1974. But she had already starred in a movie. She was an extra in the movie Moon Pilot 1962. She later starred in The Way West 1967, Famine Continues, The Bandit and Smoke-Okie 1976, 1977, Heroes the End 1978, Hooper 1978, and 1977. Sally became a serious actor with her. Sybil's 1976 performance was a TV film, and she received the Prime. She received a Time Emmy Award for her outstanding performance. In 1979, she was given her first Academy Award. She won Norma Rae's Award for Best Actress. She received her second Oscar in 1984 for Places in the Heart. These accolades proved she was not just a celebrity on television. She also starred in well-known movies including 1981, Goodbye Kiss, Absence of Malice Murphy's Romance, 1985, Steel, 1982, Magnolia's 1989 Soap Dish, Mrs. Doubtfire, 1993, Forrest Gump, 1994. In the 2000s, she returned to television. Her guest appearance on ER earned she won another Emmy in 2001. From 2006 until in 2011, She played Nora Walker, the drama series Brothers and Sisters, as well as she also received an Emmy for that. She played Mary Todd Lincoln in the 2012 movie. The film Lincoln provided her with another awarded an Oscar nomination. She played Aunt as well in The Amazing Spider-Man 2012, and the 2014 follow-up. Her other included projects: Hello, I'm Doris 2015, 80, Brady 2023, and The Maniac, a 2018 Netflix series. Regarding, by the way, did you know that she did too, on stage 2? Her first appearance on Broadway in 2002, the film The Goat or Who is Sylvia. In 2017, she returned with She received a Tony for her role in Glass Menagerie. Nomination. Additionally, she made an appearance in All My Sons in London's West End 2019. But despite the success of her work, the suffering about her past and present, problems behind the scenes continued to follow her. Anguish Hollywood memories. Hollywood wasn't Sally Field never fails to be kind. Inside her in her narrative, she detailed how she was mistreated by songwriter Jimmy Webb, 1968. They smoked and then went to sleep together. And he was there when she woke up, putting pressure on her. She couldn't understand, and she blamed herself. Maybe I had asked to do this, she thought of lying on his bed. Maybe I hadn't removed my pants all the way up. So what was there for him to believe? Then, Jimmy Webb claims that they had a normal relationship that is comparable to many people's in their 20s. He didn't believe her version of events, but for Sally, that moment was real. And it was still in her head. She also said about another disturbing event at a cinema showing. In 1976, she wastering out for the movie Stay Hungry. She claims that the director, Bob, she was told by Rafelson that he would only throw someone with good kissing skills. So she kissed him. It must have been quite good. When she wrote enough, Rafelson turned her away, claims. His words, I never made anyone kiss him to obtain a part. But once again, Sally stayed faithful to her account. These kinds of similar experiences were shared by many young people, Hollywood ladies, but not many talked about freely. Not very well, but Sally did, later in life. The more she revealed, the pain behind her was more widely known, accomplishment, and she had kept a secret from her, couldn't reveal until later. Sally Field additionally revealed a private moment, something she had kept hidden since childhood many years. At the age of 17 in 1964, she found out she was having a baby. At that moment, she was going to start her first important role on TV in Gig. Her, the individual who had abused his stepfather, made a strategy for her to have an abortion in Mexico. At the time, the United States had a ban on abortion. States. Her mother and a family friend went with her. She didn't tell anyone the name of her conceiving father, although she said that it was someone she had just met, finishing high school. She kept the encounter to herself and continued in her line of work. Later, her experience led her to support the ability to procreate. In 2022, she stated to Variety about the new law that was limiting American women's access to abortion. The males were acting in that manner, and these governors are mostly men who were doing it, are incredibly antiquated and ignorant, and a sincere desire for power. I said, she said, thinking I think it's illegal. The purpose of those laws was to eliminate the improvements for women, people of color, and the LGBTQ community. Sally Field had spent her entire life fighting, in silence. Now, as she began to reveal, the world saw her courage and honesty, genuinely was, despite her anguish, inside. An airplane mishap that could have put a stop to everything. In 1988, Sally Field came really close to passing away. Her ex-husband Alan Graceman and their 11-month-old son Sam was totally absorbed inboard the private plane of MV Griffin. They intended to depart when the worst happened. As the plane tried to take off, it lost control suddenly. It struck a parked airplane nearby. Somehow no one was killed, but it was a terrifying experience. Despite being wet, the plane did not blow up. In jet fuel, everyone on board was covered. Afterwards, Sally informed people, I just thought, hold, magazine. Now let's talk about Sam. Breaking didn't bother me, every single bone in my body. She thought she perhaps crushed her baby in the crash, but thankfully Sam was completely okay. It's nonsensical that the plane didn't blow up. It is nonsensical that we're still here, and I have to live, too, with such feeling. At that moment, she stated haunted her. It was more than just it is related to survival and parenting, a wife, and thinking about passing away in a short while. But that wouldn't be Sally's most recent experience with an object disagreeable. Her love life had its own swings, many of which persisted years of darkness. A complicated history in the 1960s and with men and love. In the 1970s, Sally Field's career was taking. She was also having trouble dating. She was first connected to an actress, Major Lee. At the time, both of them were hoping to become famous, but their not commonly confirmed partnership, a 1972 story, claims that they were together for a lengthy period. Afterward, Major offered a recommendation on they spend time together in his song Unknown. Stuntman served as the event's theme song. According to the lyrics of his show, The Fall Guy, he declared with pride, "Sally and I have been on fire. Field." Despite not being a comprehensive admission, causing others to believe the rumor was true. Earlier in 1967, Sally's boyfriend, Pete Duell, had performed Gig's brother-in-law, and their romantic relationship started after the show's conclusion. In the interview that year, Sally said wasn't a significant issue. "We're having it's quite rare, but have fun, buddy. Just having fun, alone. Why can't they allow it to alone with you?" But disaster was the end of their story. Pete Duell died on December 31st, 1971, through suicide. A few years later, Sally disclosed regarding her affection for him. In a 2007 video, she said, "In spite of 2 marriages and several important connections, Sally failed to supply giving up on love, but she started to take yourself out of the spotlight and away from dating and embracing life alone." In 1995, Sally made her first public appearance with someone new. She reached the debut of Jerry Knight in Waterworld. He played a technician in the film, as well as television. That same year, she also brought him to the Emmy Awards, where they held hands and smiled on the red carpet. But like before, the romance was over. Furthermore, this time, the split was silent. After they split up, Sally stopped appearing in public with any new partners. She focused on raising her son while developing her acting abilities endeavors. The press stopped covering it, her love life, as it wasn't particularly to record. Sally testified years later to declare that she was happy to be unmarried. In 2021, she talked about it on a live Los Angeles Talks event. She asserted that she was, with all of her past relationships in mind, in addition to what she had learned from them. "I'm regularly evaluating my appearance, looking for love and doing, as I was told to," she said, "understand what love is," said, "I don't feel loved and seen, unless I'm also afraid. There is something's wrong with that. Then I don't even try," she said, giggling. "I'm happy just the way I am, and I would much rather not pick your trousers. However, I woke up each morning, but not everyone had given up on the idea that Sally would fall in love again. But preparing for Brady's 2023 movie 80, Tom Brady, an NFL player, made a humorist say something about her. He ridiculed his podcast where they were captured on camera little thing and said, "We really enjoyed our time together, so we'll see where it goes on." But whether or Sally, nothing seems to come of it. Sure about one thing, finally, she is happy, either with or without a partner. As of right now, Sally Field has worked with, throughout her long career, several well-known people, including one of the sweetest things she said, began when she was living with Robin Williams. The day Robin Williams assumed control. In 1993, when Mrs. Doubtfire was being filmed, an incident changed her life. Forever, she was sitting in her camper, on the set, preparing for a courtroom scene. Then she got a phone call. Her father, who a few years earlier had suffered a stroke and was in a nursing home, had died away from a serious stroke again. The Field was forced to make the difficult decision so that he can be taken off life support. But even in spite of the Pain, she went back to work and did everything in their power to continue filming. I was doing everything I could. She stated, to do something. She didn't cry. She kept quiet. But Robin Williams realized that anything was wrong. Gently, he pulled her aside and asked what had happened. When she told him, he didn't. Wait a moment. We have to get you, God forbid. His words were, get out of here now. Robin discussed with the employees and arranged for them to continue shooting for the rest of the day without Sally. She could phone her when she got home, brother, and begin planning for her father's passing. It's a side of Robin that not many people knew, she shared. He was very observant and intuitive. Robin Williams died in 2014. Sally later said, I'm startled. And so every time he learned that Robin was depressed, he became delighted. He was capable of making people laugh. Distinct. There won't be any another. But behind that wistful, a memory-impaired woman was quietly enduring hardship, not just on that day, but from an ongoing health issue that she would then discuss openly, fighting a silent illness. Sally Field was diagnosed in 2005 with osteoporosis, a disorder of the bones that weakens and increases the brittleness of bones, although, at first, she didn't realize she had it. My bones seemed to be getting gradually deteriorating with no signs of her words. I could see or feel symptoms. In an interview with WebMD, she was older than 50, whitish, thin, little, and had a family history of the condition. Her words, it was nearly a given. 2006's Health Day. Sally left. She took advantage of the fact that she was reluctant to talk about her illness. In order to warn other women, in an interview with Oprah, she said, I'm striving to convey the word to ladies should ask for a bone density test they receive APAP at the same time. She explained, scandal, 1 out of 1 in 2 women over 50 will face adversity. An osteoporosis-related fracture, although most people don't realize how deadly it is. She later kicked off the rally with Sally is going. To help with the Bone Health Initiative, women understand the risks and are given investigated. In Ability magazine, she said, they need to be made aware of their risk and how to protect themselves. Bone density should be given to them, scans after they reach a certain age. Even with the right calcium, nutrition, and physical activity, Sally was unable to stop the sickness. Osteoporosis is known as the silent illness because it fails to show any symptoms until it's too late. She still had difficulties, even though her health was among the many difficulties that resulted in her don't take center stage. Acknowledging her age and receiving unkind judgment, Sally Field, who is currently in her late 70s, has choose to age naturally. She had never cosmetic surgery, but she never tried to hide her wrinkles and gray hair. 2016, she remarked, I see myself on TV and say, oh, I wish things weren't that way for me. You're lowering your neck and face and your, she mused, eyes are so puffy, with reference to oneself. She advised women to embrace who they are now instead of aiming for the way things used to look. But not everyone was nice to her. In 2018, she became the target of trolling on the internet. So many people on Twitter called her ugly and posted disparaging comments about her on social media. Look, these disparaging comments illustrated the drawbacks of social networking. In any case, she had used her playing significant roles in life and campaigning for women's health. Some yet chose to attack her for the straightforward reasoning. The actress stayed strong. She knew what was significant. After all, she had known love, loss, illness, and heartbreak. She had raised children, endured hardships and downs of Hollywood. That authority is what shaped her identity. But even as she kept quiet about a great deal of her pain, the people began to realize how unusual she was. Appearance and her changing lifestyle, fewer roles, and a peaceful existence. Sally Field was once among the most well-known people in Hollywood. She was the main character in Mrs. Outfire, Woodland, and Steel Magnolia Gump. But suddenly, things are different. In September 2024, she was seen walking her dog Dash in Los Angeles. She was wearing a striped shirt, white capris, and a big hat for the sun. She seemed easygoing, at ease, and serene. Many supporters, though, were surprised. Some thought she was quite thin. Some even asserted that she didn't resemble her. She has also briefly resumed using social media. That same year, she published, supported, and encouraged Kamala Harris voters. "This is me," and this is when she wrote, "Buckle up, my dog dash." The next day she added, "Please cast your vote for our country, our children, and grandchildren. For you, I'll try my best, friend." Despite her stern tone about considering socioeconomic issues, her film has slowed down. 80 was her most recent big-budget film, launched in the start of 2023 for Brady. Since then, she hasn't been given any significant parts. She once claimed that Hollywood does not assign suitable roles to older individuals, women. The combination of the opportunity gap and her health issues may be the cause of her extending the duration of time at home. Furthermore, she has talked candidly about how her children assisted her in overcoming obstacles. As mentioned to onRadarOnline.com, she recently said that her children saved her life, although according to some reports, she is portrayed as weak and distant today, out of the spotlight. In spite of everything, she's cruel, tragic love stories and health issues, critics and reduced positions. Her head is still in Sally Field's grasp. She's high and has nothing else to prove. What was the pivotal moment in Sally Field's life? What has had the most impact on your career? Furthermore, do you think Hollywood does a sufficient amount of restore aging stars like Sally Field? Share your thoughts in a comment below. Also, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and keep checking back. For more incredible stories from Hollywood's fascinating history, see you later.